Hi, family. Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Journey? I'm Jordan Thorpe, and today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Alexis Adams, and I'm so glad to have her here with us today. But before we get into the interview, of course, we have to do our Kingdom Business highlight of the week, which is Nightbox. And Nightbox is a monthly subscription for date night activities. So if you and your spouse are looking for date night ideas, they're the perfect subscription box. They have anything you can think of. What I like most about them is that they have a faith-based edition. So you and your partner can grow your faith together and make it like a fun date night activity. So you can find them in Jordan's Journey app in the directory section, along with other Kingdom businesses as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into our interview. Alexis, how are you doing today?
I'm doing like so good. It's been such a good week, so I'm doing good.
Awesome. That's so good to hear. And
Yeah.
just to give you guys a little bit of background about Alexis and I, Alexis invited me to speak at my very first speaking event ever. And it was an amazing time, and I learned so much from that. And we've just kind of been connected and networking together ever since. So I'm glad that she's on. She has so much going on, so she's going to tell us all about that. So if you want to just introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you're doing.
So I am Alexis, Naomi Alexis, however you may know me.
Mm-hmm.
Lex on Instagram. But in a
Mm-hmm.
nutshell, I like to say I'm a cultural curator because I have been planning events and trying to bring the community together in different ways for as long as I can remember. And I was just lately, I've been able to turn it into a real business during the pandemic. I was able to start a business clearly from God because I had no intentions on starting You Good Sis. That's the name of my business, You Good Sis Women's Count. It's a
Mm-hmm.
social wellness club for women of color, generations X, Y, and Z. So it's a place for Black girls. Like that's our place. It's our place to grow personally and holistically. It's really my passion to make sure women don't just focus on one part of them. We are a whole being. We are multiple beings sometimes.
Mm.
So it's really important to me that we focus on all of those sides. We focus on exercising positivity and all those sides and just feeling liberated as women. So that's something super, that's pretty much my whole life right now. That, and I'm also an esthetician in the Pittsburgh area. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
skin nerd, love skin. So
Yeah.
that is pretty much the biggest part of me right now are those two things. I'm
So-
also co-owner of Charm Beauty and Aesthetics online store. So
oh, cool.
yeah, so that's pretty much yeah, that's me. Oh, and I started a podcast on my birthday. I just
You
had to think
will
about
start a podcast.
I
Okay,
launched my podcast.
okay, we're going to talk about the podcast too, but first I want to talk about Are You Good, Sis?
Yeah.
So it's a basically a wellness
Hmm.
for a woman of color. So you have resources, you hold events.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you get into
So
wellness and women helping women? Like, how did you get into that part?
it's funny because I've always been into helping folks. And
Mhm.
so I'm actually, like I said, I'm an esthetician.
Right.
And I started a self-care challenge March before the pandemic, like before Coviana came and took over the world.
So
So
beyond.
I just wanted to do a self-care challenge, and it was more so a marketing ploy. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, let's start this group and I'll talk about skin in here, not thinking about doing anything for women, not thinking about starting all what this has become at all. And then the world shut down and I could not go back to work. And
Mm.
because I couldn't touch anybody. Like my job is
Right.
very hands-on job.
Right,
So
an esthetician, so you're like touching the face.
yes,
Yeah,
like it weren't a lot like 6 feet. I am literally probably 1 feet away sometimes. So
right,
it
right.
didn't work. It just we were shut down. And so I just had a lot of time to put into that. And then just when I start to focus on something or when I'm trying to distract myself from something, I get really creative. And so I just kept the challenge going and women were joining. And then something just literally dropped in my spirit and was like, why don't you try online conference? And I'm like, well,
Mm.
I mean, we can't go anywhere else. Like, why not? And I already had the history of throwing events and
Right.
all those
Right.
things. So I was like, let's see. It was really a thing like, let's see if I could do it. Let's see if
Right.
it would work. And it did.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And
It was.
you
I
were
was
actually one
there.
of the speakers. Yes, I'm like, you were actually one of the speakers. You were actually the first person that came to my mind when I was writing out my list of speakers. So
It
like
was
you're stuck with
really
me
good.
for life. You're like stuck. We're stuck.
Yes.
But after that, it really was God, because had he
Yeah.
not sent the sisters in the group to keep it going and growing and allowing me direction, because we were really in a place during the pandemic where you couldn't turn anywhere else but inward. Like there was
Mm.
nowhere else to go. You were either getting to know yourself more or getting to know whoever you were in a house with more. But even if you were in a house with them, it was showing you a lot about yourself.
Yes, it
And
was.
I was living with my parents during the when at the beginning of the pandemic because I came
Hmm.
back home. But
Hmm.
yeah, I was like, oh yes, God, I hear you, space. So I hear you. So it was just a lot of, can I move out again? Because I had moved back in after having a horrible relationship and was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back home and reset because home is reset for me.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it
I
is.
was like, okay. And so just going through all of that, and it's the women. It was the women for me. They were enjoying it. Every single speaker, when the conference first went off, I mean, they were saying such, like, you just had to be there catching all those gems.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. I was like, I'm gonna try this again.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good. And it was so impactful. So many women were impacted and were in the group. And then you had online vendors, which was
Man,
like something I've never seen. So because a lot of people have online stores now. So that worked. You can just put
that,
the link in, here's a photo, here's what I'm selling. So
yes.
that
And
was
it was
so
like you had a
creative.
special code because you're in the group. And I love
Right.
in Black women business. I think Black women are, I'm the Black women super fan. So anything I can do to support the Black woman, I am there. It
Hmm.
was just, yeah, that was dope. I was not even, it was dope to watch. Not because I did it. It was dope to watch these women. It was dope to
Yeah.
watch you guys just really stand in who you are and who you become and who you unbecame and just really be able to share.
Yeah.
I was in awe the whole time.
Right. So, okay, so during the pandemic, you birthed the Are You Good Sis
Yes.
movement. Can I call it a movement
We
or
can call it a movement, okay?
okay. So you birthed the Are You Good Sis movement.
Mhm.
Would you say it's faith-based or is it what what kind of things can we find from Are You Good Sis?
I think faith-based also always gets tied into being parallel with religious. And faith you can have even if you're not religious, you know?
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I think so because it's like it is faith-based a little bit, but I did not really tie. I am a PK, you know, Jesus is my homeboy, all those great things, given honor. But I didn't really want to make it to religion-based because I have seen religion my whole life and I've seen the ups and downs. And so I really, and I didn't want to narrow it off because there's women coming that are Buddhists that don't are in the middle of trying to figure out where they are with it, that are agnostic, that are Christians. And I didn't want to exclude anybody because my main focus is supporting the Black woman in all aspects of her life. So
Mhm.
just because your spiritual walk and the God that you acknowledge is not the same God as mine does not mean you don't have struggles. You
Right.
know, I may have my own thoughts and I have my own way of doing it, but you're still a woman at the end of the day, a
Mhm.
Black woman on top of that. So
Mhm.
within our group, we focus more on personal growth. Each month, we focus on a personal growth challenge on our Facebook group. And now that the world kind of sort of opened back up, we have monthly events curated for the Black women
Mhm.
tailored Black women tailored for their personal growth experience to really indulge in growth and play and to go to brunch and fall in bushes with each other. Just really enjoyable moments.
Right.
And just another way to collab with more Black women and showcase businesses, because a lot of these events that are coming up, they're from Black businesses. Like we have a cooking class with a well-known cook in the Pittsburgh area. We're having a skating class with this bomb skater in the Pittsburgh area. It's just a lot of different things
Fun.
for women to explore
Yeah.
all realms and sides of their self. Because that's why I say that we're a camp. Camp can transform into many things, and so can women. And so I just want to be
Mm,
a place for that.
mm. So would you say that the COVID, that was almost like a blessing in disguise? Because it sounds like you found something that you love doing that incorporates like everything, and
Yeah.
that it's like COVID.
Yes.
Uh, what am I saying? Not recession proof, but
It's like if the world shuts down again, proof.
right, right, right. You
Yeah.
still have
Yes, if
something.
anything, COVID, yeah, it taught me to do not tie everything into a brick and mortar. Um, Diversify. So I feel very bad when I say I enjoyed the pandemic. I have been working 2 jobs or more since I've been 14. And so for the first time to sit, I mean, I definitely had my struggles because I did not get stimulated, but it was
When you
I,
say you didn't get stimulated, mean like a
I didn't
stimulus?
get my stimulus, no.
I just
It
wanted to be
did
clear.
not come.
We're talking about
My
a stimulus.
stimulus did not come. It did not come into so it was the world was basically opening back up.
Mm,
Like, and it was like, okay, start to get jobs. But I did enjoy the stillness. I enjoyed how still it was outside because everybody wasn't moving around. Um, of course, there was the scary side of things because I have older parents, and there's just so
right.
many different things going on. But I think the world should shut down every 10 years, just
I
1 year.
mean, just like for a reset, like there's just something
Yes,
about a stillness. Like when the whole world
yes.
is still.
It just ushered in so much peace to me. Like I enjoyed it, and everything was getting better. The water was getting better. The air was like, if you looked at things, I mean, minus people getting sick, of course. That's why I hate
Right,
saying it.
right.
But I just think the world needs to have a timeout every 10 years. We know it's coming, we plan for it.
Hmm.
And we
Hmm.
just take that break because I think that was good for a lot of people. I think it was.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. So Are You Good, Sis? And now you said recently you were ushering into the podcast world. So talk to us a little bit about your podcast. What made you decide to start a podcast? And what can we look forward to hearing on your podcast?
So I started my podcast way, way back in the day. I used to do online radio when online radio first was like really becoming a thing.
Really?
Yes, I did radio at the Diamond Studio downtown in the Pittsburgh area. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the studio was owned by now my best one of my best friends, but we were not friends then. But we had an online show and it was doing so good. Like we would have conversations, different interviews, all these great things. So it always was there. I always enjoyed talking to people. And then
Right,
it just decided to bring it back because I had nothing else. I had a lot to say after the pandemic.
right.
And I was like, okay. And I wanted to really start to hold myself accountable. So my podcast is called Explicit Content.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's just my personal growth journey. It's my diary, my journal, all in one, just like through an audio form. So I've really, really been enjoying it. I can't wait to interview more people. And really, there you can just find anything from self improvement, me just being completely honest and vulnerable, because that's a challenge of myself right now.
Yeah,
The challenge that I have for myself right now is to become more vulnerable, especially being 30.
yeah.
Turning 30, I was like, I'm not playing with people anymore. Okay. I'm going to be me.
Right.
So that's pretty much, it's just a real, like, just come on and listen to the different entries of my diary and maybe something that I say, you can resonate with. I leave people with challenges. I'm encouraging dating yourself over there so
Mm-hmm.
much. Like, I'm heavy on the date yourself, like real life date yourself. I call it master dating. So
Mm-hmm.
go on a master date. Yes, because
Okay.
yeah,
So, you talked about your personal growth journey.
yes.
Okay. So how would you describe your personal growth journey? What does that look like for you?
It looked like, you remember like the game MASH where you would draw a circle just around and around? It looks like that because I thought it would be, I want to be
Full
better.
circle.
Yes. Just
Okay.
a whole bunch of just scribble
Okay.
on a piece of paper. And I thought it would be, I want to be better. Okay, straight line. And it was not that at all. Um, it was very hard. It's still very hard because I'm still in the midst of it. I break down personal growth into 3 levels. And I think I'm really much at level 2 where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to notice some things. I notice a lot of things. I'm becoming way more self aware.
Mm,
And I have a plan. I have a consistent plan that I need to stick to become better and to reach my goals.
mm,
So right now, it's hard. It was hard to let a lot of things go. And sometimes it's hard to even realize, like, oh, you were toxic. Yeah,
mm.
that was you, sis. That was you. You were a little toxic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a very humbling experience.
Mm,
It's working with my patients
yeah.
because it also makes you, because I'm back in therapy heavy, and I'm now combining my therapy with life coaching for myself.
Right.
Um, and
Right.
it's just like, I don't want to hear this about myself. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to have to be
Yeah.
this vulnerable. That's what it is for me. Is
Yeah.
being this vulnerable. Like, they
Yeah.
want to draw up old memories, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But
And it's like really facing and embracing the parts, the ugly parts, the parts that we try to hide, that we don't like, or even ashamed of, or like you have to face every
shame,
part of yourself and be
shame.
accepting of it and realize, you're not your past or you're not your mistake, but we're evolving and
I think that's
growing.
really the word, is shame. It's coming past a lot of shame. Um, and just being raised in a very strict Christian household,
Yeah.
it's kind of breaking part of, I know that they loved me and they meant well, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we got the yeah, that's the only thing I can say about it.
Yeah.
But
And that totally understand because I was raised in like Christian
yes.
household and I barely was allowed to talk to boys, but then when I was able to, I just kind of went wow, because there was no, like, it was like you can't do it, but then there was no boundaries when you did, so you
Mhm.
just were just like out
It
there.
was like, either you can or you can't. So when I could, I did. So
Right. Right.
and so I totally get that. I get that. So
Hmm.
that's been it for me. A little shame getting over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Trying to get over what people's fantasies of me are in their head. That's been a big thing.
What is that
Um,
like? What are some of their fantasies and how are you getting over that?
it's an everyday practice because I'm a people pleaser. Um,
Mm.
And so when I know somebody has a certain specific expectation for me, I'm just like, oh, I really want to fulfill that. But doing some of these things to fulfill every person's need from you, or being somebody's avatar, is very complicated, and it causes chaos and like an internal war in your body, because if you're trying to be everything for everybody, there's no bottom line for you. Like, there's no sound judgment in any of that. And so it's hard because I hate letting people down, but in a way it's like, I'm not letting you down, you're kind of letting yourself down, because I am who I am. And that fantasy girl you have in your head about me, no matter if it's my mom, wouldn't a specific way, if it's my friends, if it's a lover, that's your business.
Mm.
Like, whatever version of me you have in your head, that's your business, that's not mine, because I can only be who I am. And so being okay with who I was and feeling like I don't, because I'm not a certain way, how somebody wants things, I always saw it as a flaw.
Right.
So trying to understand that it's not flaws, it's my quirks, it's my characteristics, and really understanding my own values now, that has been the hardest things, because it's very hard to untie myself from everybody else's belief. It was
Yeah.
very hard.
Yeah. And understanding like how you grew up and those beliefs may not necessarily what I believe today or what may fit what
Yeah.
I need right now, and breaking those beliefs and rebuilding new ones that better
Mhm.
serve you. And so your personal growth journey seems a lot um, geared toward like self awareness, more self, knowing who you are,
Mhm.
just spending time with yourself. And I loved how you talked about dating yourself.
Yes.
So, can you talk to us a little bit more about that and what that looks like?
So date myself because I don't want to wait for people. I think we just had this conversation actually in You Good Sis.
Hmm.
And one of the ladies was sharing how she always wanted a tennis bracelet. But for
Hmm.
some reason in her mind, she couldn't buy it for herself. Somebody had to give it to her. Like it had to be a gift from but it's just like I can break all barriers and go buy this tennis bracelet and have it myself. So that's kind of the same experience when I first ever dated myself. It was because I wanted to see the Snow White movie. And the guy I was talking to at the time was not trying to go, was making me late for the movie. And I was like, I'll go by myself. So
Yeah.
I did it. And it wasn't that bad. And then I gathered strength from that moment when I was like, I need to start dating myself to understand solitude, to be more comfortable with myself, to stop this feeling of quote unquote, oh, you're lonely because I'm alone or because I'm single or because I am not married or with children and things like that. It also allowed me time to really get to know myself because I feel like we assume we know ourselves.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think we always do. And to me, self mastery is knowing that you can learn something new about yourself daily.
Mm.
Um, and each date, because I actually bought the Adventure Date Night book, they have one for couples. So I got the ones
What's
for
it
the
called?
single. It's
Adventure,
the Date Night Adventure book.
date night adventure book.
Yes, they have one for couples and they have one for families and they have one for friends and one if you're by yourself. So
Oh.
I got the solo date one just to have more structure to my dates because I was just going to get something to eat or I'll go to do the movies. And when I do go, I journal. I make it a point to journal as if I am on a date asking somebody a question. So even if it's just one little question I take time to answer, it's like I want to take time to answer it. I'm on a date. I'm talking to myself. And so just really taking that time to indulge in me because dating yourself strengthens so many different aspects in your life. Like I'm starting to hear my own voice.
Yeah.
And I don't have to negotiate with somebody. If I want to go to the same restaurant 50, 11 times, I decide that. So it's been nice. It's a little weird at first, because I didn't want to go and just be on my phone the whole time because I'm treating myself as if I'm dating myself. Because if I'm on a date with a man, he's on his phone the whole time, I promise you I will never come back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to do that to myself either. So I get dressed, I get cute, I go
Mm-hmm.
and put the perfume on, and then we go out on the date. If it's a house date, I still try to put on cute pajamas or something and do a house date. But I've been enjoying it. I think I'm the best date I've ever had.
I love that. So, how often do you date
I
yourself?
try to do it once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Once a month.
And what is one of the things that you learned about yourself from dating yourself?
My patience is very, very thin, not only with people, with myself. And so
Mm.
one of the dates was because so they'll outline it for you. It'll say things like how much it is, how much time you need to prep for it, and all those great things. So I did the in the house one, and it was like Google the top party tricks, pick one and learn it. It was to bounce an egg off of the counter into a shot glass. Like that is not easy. So I gave up so many times. Like I'm not doing this. This is dumb. Let me just pick another one. So in that I had a chance to observe my actions. And then my date night question is, what was my relationship with patience? So it was like a whole moment for me when I was like, oh, that's why I have so many issues with some things. I don't have patience. So
Mm.
that's something I did learn and experience.
Yeah, I always say, when you spend time with yourself, you're spending time with God because God lives within you. He's always with us, leading us and guiding us. So that is, you can, spending time with God doesn't always have to be like in a church or in
Right.
prayer. You can get your nails done, you can go to the movies. He's just, always with us and just having the awareness that
Yeah.
he's there and he's present. That's the same thing.
And even being able to get silent with yourself, you can hear him better.
Yes, you
You
can.
know, you're eliminating the distractions. It's really nothing but you and just strangers. So either you're going to talk to yourself or you're going to talk to God. So which one?
Yeah, and I feel like when you're talking to yourself, you're talking to God. It's
Mhm.
just prayer doesn't have to be a structured thing. If you're just out talking, God hears us.
No, my prayers with God be real conversational. Like, hey, so this is what happened.
Yeah,
God. Mhm.
yeah. And that's another thing, in your relationship with God is not, it's going to look different for everyone. There's not like one cookie cutter type of
No.
relationship or spending time. So,
That's why they gave us all the disciples in the Bible to see that you all come differently. Like if you
yeah,
look at their story, they all came. I mean, they all came differently and still served.
yes, they
So
did.
I think that's my thing. It's just he's amazing. There's no way to think that we're all going to come the same way. There's no way. He created us all so differently. There's no way.
Yeah. And so, what are some tips for someone who is out there who is single and just is working on improving themselves, self improvement, and they want to date themselves? Like, what would you tell them?
Be intentional about it.
Mm,
Be as intentional as if it is somebody else. Because if somebody kept canceling on you, would you keep going out with them? No. Like
mm,
you wouldn't. If you kept dating somebody and it didn't ever seem like something was planned, would you keep dating them? No, you wouldn't. So I
and
would
I
say,
love that because you're setting the standard on how
yeah,
other people treat you by
yes,
how you treat yourself.
yes. I said it in one of my episodes. I said I have already set the table, so he won't ever have to ask what I brought to the table.
Mm,
If I'm already used to going out regularly and doing this for myself, number one, I don't have to depend on you to do it. But you know that that's something I expect. Those are two things I need you to know, that I can do it myself, but I do expect you to do it when I'm dating.
mm.
And it's not something that's like, oh, it's a come up when you come around. No, I already was doing this. You
Right,
know,
right.
I'm big on Black girls normalizing luxury. So yeah, I was already doing this. So I think that's it for me. It was really like that. But if I had to give a tip, that intention, be intentional.
Be intentional. Hmm.
Um, get it, set it, write it down, put it in your planner, tell somebody else, something to hold you accountable for it.
Yeah,
And really have fun.
yeah.
Have fun. Don't be on your phone. Try different things. Cause I really got stuck in the I'm just gonna eat at restaurants or sit at the bar type thing because
Yeah,
that
like finding different activities to do
yes,
to yourself. And
do
then
the
you have to think like, what do I like to do? What do I even like to do?
I didn't know what I
Start
liked.
there.
I didn't know what I liked. I was like, what do I like to do other than go eat? I really
Yeah.
didn't think about this. I need to know this.
Yeah, you did.
It really has opened up a big thing for me. Being self-aware, I really feel like was is the key to anything because that allows you space for knowledge. So
Mm, that's so good. So what can we look forward to from you? What's next? What's going on?
Hi. So you definitely can stay tuned on the podcast. I upload those on Sundays.
Okay.
Um
And your
it,
podcast is available
it's available
everywhere.
on
Where can we find it?
everything. Apple Music, not Apple Music, Apple Podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Spotify, all the
Okay. All the
like
major
tune
podcast
in,
platforms.
yes,
Okay.
they all got them. I made sure nobody had any excuse.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but
Awesome.
really, like the podcast is the thing. If you are a Black woman and you like personal growth and you like the holistic approach to life, they can definitely join You Good Sis Women's Camp.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Where can we join? Where can we join you?
you can visit us at heyyougoodsis.com and you can just hit join. But if you're already on Facebook, just want to search it in, just type in You Good Sis Women's Camp. But it's easier to start the website because you get to see the in-person things that we do as well if you are in the Pittsburgh area.
Mhm,
And God, do you hear me? I'm trying to grow to all areas. So
mhm,
that's a
mhm.
goal of mine to have because we're a social club and I want one in each city. So
Yeah, come
that's
out
a
to
goal.
Cali.
Yes. And I love that sun out there.
Yeah, it's been really hot these past couple days.
Man, you can take this rain in Pittsburgh if you want it. I thought I was in Seattle. So you can say it has rained at least every other day here.
I had enough rain from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but and also we always do a journey takeaway,
Okay.
something that our listeners can take away from your story, your journey. What would that one thing be that you would want them to take away?
It's not that real. That's really what I've been telling myself. Like, you overreacted so much. It's not that real. Take
Yeah,
a break, take a step back, because at the end of the day, you can only control you.
yeah,
But you get to control you. Like, that's such an honor to be in control of your own actions and to know that. So that's been my biggest thing. And like, people are going to talk about you if you do or if you don't. So go for it.
just
Mm,
go for it. Go
for it.
for it.
Honey, they talked about Jesus. Okay. So
Yeah,
they're going to talk about you.
they did. And then letting go of the people bondage. Like, why do we even care so much what other people think? Like, why is that even a thing? Like, why do
We're
I care
so
what?
raised to be
And then
like,
a lot of people, you don't even know them, and you care so much. Their opinion holds so much weight on your life, and you don't
yeah,
even know these people. How does that happen?
because we're like, I don't want to do that because what if somebody says this? Who's somebody? You don't even know who that is. Why are we so worried about somebody we don't even know? It's like it baffles me. It really does. It just while we are so concerned about everything and everyone else,
Yeah.
instead of being true to ourselves. So if any, that's really my thing, is try to become more true to yourself each and every day, because that's when things really start to click. That's when growth, and that's where opportunity really started to meet me, or in my most authentic moments where I'm not faking the funk. There we go. Where I'm
Okay.
not
So,
faking the funk.
how do you know you're being true to yourself? How can
Still
someone
working.
tell? Yeah.
I'm still working on this because I can go into chameleon mode so easily.
I think
Like,
we all can, because we're like in this world and this
yes.
culture, and you want to, it's like you're in it, but you don't want to be of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. I boiled it down to a feeling. I boiled it down to a feeling for me. I think maybe for each person, and I'm still trying to navigate this myself, is it may be a different indicator, but for me, it's legit a feeling. I feel like I can breathe. Um,
mm,
it really feels like breath to me. Like literally, we just celebrate. My friend celebrated my birthday last weekend,
mhm.
and I just was standing there like, geez, I'm wealthy. Like I have all these people that took their time to do this and they love me. I cannot be that terrible of a person. I keep telling myself in my head, if they have taken the time to show me love in this level and to be so intentional about it because they planned that. So it's
I
I
love
don't
that, a
it's a
feeling.
feeling.
Look, and you're not feeling like you're jeopardizing who you are.
I just feel like for me, it's like, oh, like it's like a good R&B song that hits for me, like a good slow
Mm,
jam on the perfect summer night. Like that's what it feels like for me. It was really just a moment. And I said to myself, at 30, I'm gonna create the most authentic moments that I can, because that felt amazing. And I want everybody to feel that breath, that sigh of relief. Like, and that's what it felt like for me. And that's what it continues to feel like me when I'm being authentic. I don't feel nervous. My body, as soon as something's off, my body feels it. I've always been like that. So if I get nervous or a little bit of anxious, my stomach is doing backflips. So
mm,
just for the simple fact that I was just calm and in my element, and then really feeling this new feeling of peace, because I hadn't had peace in a long time.
mm.
So just feeling that, I was like, oh, this is me. This is Lex. Nice to meet you, sis. Welcome back. Like, and I just want to keep doing that. So I think create a moment and then figure out what indicator was like, oh yeah, that's how I know it's being myself for yourself. Because for me, it was just a feeling.
I think that that's a good ending point right
Oh.
there. So, thank you for joining us, for
Yes.
sharing your journey. I'm sure someone will be blessed and inspired. And thank you all for tuning in. Again, my name is Jordan Thorpe. Don't forget to follow our new podcast page on Instagram at Jordan's Journey Podcast _ to stay up to date with the latest on what's going on with the podcast. And God loves you so much, and so do I. Until next time.